for I was a liberal arts major and I now want to become a California CPA. Okay, so my disclaimer and copyright notice: the information and opinions in this presentation are those of the author only and not the author's employers or affiliated organizations, including but not limited to Irvine Valley College and the South Orange County Community College District. Presentation is for educational purposes only and does not constitute any legal or accounting advice whatsoever. Further disclaimer, the Board of Accountancy has the last word in terms of whether or not a course meets the educational requirements. This presentation is copyright 2023 by Bennett Tchaikovsky. All rights are reserved. Okay, so I've had, over the years, I've had multiple students who have been film majors, psychology majors, English majors, history majors, and they now want to become a CPA in California, and they've been able to do it. I've just had a watcher who sent me over this video. Found my YouTube video on how to become a CPA in California. They are currently working for an employer, an accounting department, and they have no prior accounting experience. Got their bachelor's degree in history from a major university and scheduled to take an introductory to accounting course and an ethics course at the old where he went to the community college this coming fall semester. Completely blind, and any assistance would be greatly appreciated. So this is the first really good step, because if you don't know something, you need to ask or try to go through and to figure it out. So the first thing I will say is we're not going to take accounting ethics. We're going to take that later, and I'm going to explain why in a moment. Okay, so if you want to become a CPA, what are the requirements? A year of work experience in California, has to be under a licensed CPA, 150 semester units in very specific areas, and I'll talk about that momentarily. Sitting for the CPA exam, passing the CPA exam, and then you also have to go through and take a take-home ethics test, which I haven't listed here, but that's the other part of the requirements. So if you are working, so my viewer who's working at an accounting department, what you want to do is you want to find out if someone you're working for, either directly or indirectly, is a licensed CPA. You need to go to them. Once you find out, how can you find out? You go to the California Board of Accountancy, you type in the person's name. I've done that on other videos before. But if I come over here and I say California Board of Accountancy, and if I go over here to license lookup, right, and I want to basically look a California licensed CPA, you go through and type my name. You type in Tchaikovsky, boom, you'll find me right over here. It's not very hard to do. I'll put this over here in the links, right? So, but you have to go through and find out whether or not the person you're working for is a CPA. This is a huge deal, because if you're working for a CPA, you're literally going to be getting that year out of the way much, much faster. Also, just to kind of be very, very clear, what I'm talking about in this video applies specifically to California. Other states like Alaska, like South Carolina, there's probably going to be other states I'm going to go through and do, but a lot of the other states are very strict on the types of courses you go through and take. So right over here, I'm working for an employer that, again, if they're actively licensed as a CPA in California, they can also be actively licensed in Illinois. It doesn't matter. But if they're willing to sign off on your experience, which they generally are required to do, again, California, we're talking not about auditing experience, general experience. This is very important. So talk to that supervisor and say, hey, I'm interested in becoming a CPA. You know, I'm working for you as an accountant. I'm trying to get better at my job. And so, hey, man, help me out. Will you sign off on my requirements, right? And they should be willing to do so. If they're not, let me know and I can tell you what to say. But get the sign-offs, talk to your employer, and just make sure that they're willing to sign off. That's all you're looking for, because this is going to make your life a lot easier. And why a lot of you are watching this video, because You may have been a history major, psychology, film major. You're working as an accountant and you're kind of going, dude, I'm doing this terrible, awful work. I want to at least get my license out of it. And this is what you're going to do. Okay. So first thing we're going to go through and do is we're going to complete the mapping. And my example, my viewer, who I thanks for inspiring me to make this video, JS wrote this out for me. So what's really important, and I will also share with you the link, and this will basically also tell you over here in terms of kind of like what to go through and to do, is you want to list out every single course. Now I've hidden some of the other columns. Why did I do that? Because I don't want to relieve any personal information, but when I send you the sheet, you'll see how this works. What is very important to do when you do this is you need to write out the full course name and the course, basically the course number and the course name. Why is this so important? It's because when I go through and do your mapping, I am trying to figure out, well, how do things fall into this? So for example, student took a course that has Islam in it. Well, to me, Islam sounds like a religion. So that's going to come down over here to group D potentially, right? So it's at least something we can put by the Board of Accountancy and see if they'll go through and accept it. And it would be one of those things that I would need to better understand is Islam and modernism. Even though this may have been listed as a history class, did it have a religious connotation to it? And the Board of Accountancy, again, California, they're pretty open in terms of what classes you can go through and take to satisfy your requirements. So right over here, just make sure when you send this to me, make sure you write out everything, right? So this student over here, my viewer, he's in pretty good shape compared to other students that I've seen. He hasn't taken an accounting class, but literally once he finishes 24 semester units of accounting, he will be eligible to sit for the CPA exam, right? So to sit for the CPA exam, bachelor's degree, 24 business, 24 accounting, that's to sit. To become licensed, you need the accounting study, of which 6 has to be in accounting. You can have business, you can have English, you can have culture courses, all these different things. So this is really why it's so important when you send me over your course listing that you basically go through and detail this out. So the student has to go through and complete 24 semester units of accounting. Now, when you look at this over here, the student told me he said, well, I'm planning on taking accounting ethics. I would not take accounting ethics this semester. Why is it? Because accounting ethics is going to help you become licensed. It's not going to help you sit for the exam. In order to sit for the exam, you've got to do 24 semester units of accounting subjects. That means I'll go through, show you this in a minute, but you want to focus on the 24 semester units of accounting. So coming right over here to basically start kind of going through and looking. So he's done the mapping. He did a great job in terms of listing it out. But now let's talk about the courses that you should be going through and taking. I am extremely familiar with Irvine Valley College because that's where I've been teaching for the last, I'm on year 10 now. So I've been teaching there for quite some time. This is what I would generally recommend students to go through and do. The choice of taking lower division financial accounting first, great choice. You probably also want to take some Excel courses with accounting. We offer some great ones at Irvine Valley. When you are taking accounting courses, these classes can take up a considerable amount of time because you're learning a skill, right? So you don't want to take intermediate accounting as your first class without having taken financial accounting first. Managerial accounting is kind of an oddball because you're kind of looking at, intermediate, like financial becomes intermediate, managerial becomes cost. So again, with managerial accounting, it just kind of depends on where you're falling within everything. Excel is extremely important, but however, make sure you're taking the Excel courses with like Excel for accountants. You have to make sure it's got accounting in those descriptions. So lower division financial, probably next semester, I would take lower division managerial. And the first semester I would take accounting with Excel. And then you start getting into the other classes, intermediate accounting 1 and 2, after you've taken financial. With intermediate accounting 1 and 2, these are offered at most community, it's not a lot, but they're definitely offered at community colleges. I teach it at IVC this fall. It's exciting. So you could take it this fall at IVC. You could take accounting 202B in spring. Community colleges generally offer a lot of these courses in an online or hybrid type format. You should also be taking individual taxation, business taxation. Why do I recommend those? Because when you go look at the CPA exam, you're going to have, there's an area that's in tax. Auditing, that's a whole separate area, even on the new format of the CPA exam. And then you've got other courses like advanced accounting, internal controls, cost accounting, financial statement analysis, right? So again, if you're taking courses like payroll tax or QuickBooks, it's not going to help you prepare for the CPA exam. It'll get you accounting units, but don't take ethics until after you've been able to sit for the exam. So this is also really important that that is really very important for everyone to be considering, because I've seen this happen a lot when I was monitoring some of the Becker chat rooms. And I would see students who would say, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm preparing for the CPA exam. And I've seen a lot of my viewers go out there and say, well, I don't know what I'm doing. And so the thing I would tell you is you want to take very challenging courses, right? Take fair courses, right? Don't take it from someone who's out to get you. Like, that's not fun, right? But take challenging, fair courses. Generally, if a student fails my class, it's because they didn't have the time. If they put in the time into my classes, they're generally going to be passing. But again, every student is very different. It's oftentimes when I talk to students why they fail a class, they're working 60 hours a week, they've got a family, they've got, a lot of obligations. So accounting takes time. And so because it's a skill-based class, you don't want to do that. Also, if you take really easy courses, that's going to be an absolute disaster. Because if you take something that's really, really easy, it's not going to be pleasant. So again, what I like to say is you'll pay now or later, but at some point you will go through and pay. So it's better to pay now. So when you get to the CPA exam, it's a review. It's nothing new. Okay. So right over here, once you've met the requirements, right? So once JS, right? So he goes through and he takes 24 semester units of accounting. He's got the business subjects already done. Once you go through and meet these requirements, then at that point in time, that's when you want to apply to sit for the CPA exam. So once he applies to sit for the CPA exam, right, then that's when you're going to be good to go, because you want to get that exam out of the way as quickly as possible. The exam is going to be changing. There'll be a lot more videos on that come 2024. But again, you want to be able to sit for the exam as fast as possible. And that's how you're going to get this done, is by taking the accounting and then getting the business out of the way, which JS has already done. So once you start taking the CPA exam and preparing for it, right, you're going to take a review course, either Roger or Becker. There's other ones that are out there, but the most of my students who are out there taking it, I've done a review of Gleim. All of them are good. It depends on what you're really going through and looking for. You have to go through and do a try and buy. You have to see which course is going to be best for you. There's Gleim, there's Insurgent, Surgent, not Insurgent, Surgent, Gleim. There's a lot of courses out there. So find the one that is best for you. So and then over here is that, and then basically once you basically do that part, and then what you're going to want to do is then at that point is when you can go through and take accounting ethics, right? Because, well, I'm sitting for the exam, I'm getting this done. Then I take ethics studies. I try to get some more of these classes over here out of the way. I can then finish the rest up. I need an accounting study. So the accounting study and ethics studies are what you need to become licensed. I guess my video just went out. Hold on. Are we back on? Uh-oh. There's something wrong with my video. I guess it didn't want to talk to me anymore. Uh-oh. Okay. Well, in any event, so just kind of going through and looking over here. So just to kind of wrap things up, last thing you're going to want to go through and do is basically then kind of going back up to here, right? So you've done your year of work experience. You've done the 150 semester units. Basically, you want to sit for the exam and then get the rest of it done. You're going to pass the CPA exam, and then you're going to go through and pass the take-home ethics examination. So that's what I would kind of go through and suggest in terms of going through and having you do. I'm sorry for my video going out. I'll have to go through and figure out what's happening. And let's see what was going on. Oh, my iPhone wanted to connect to my computer. How exciting. Okay, so right over here, I want to thank everybody for being with me here today. JS, best of luck to you. And boy, this is fun. Best of luck to you as you are going through and preparing for the CPA exam. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. And I will see you guys later. Thank you for liking and subscribing. Have a great day.